Hey, all right. So if you look at our really short calendar for the semester, by the calendar, we're over halfway done. We are in week 5, and there's only 8 weeks for the whole semester. Now, at the end of this week, after you take exam 3, you're going to be over halfway with the points. You'll be about 65% done as far as points go in this class. So what that means is sometime this week, whether it's before the exam or after the exam, just look and see how you're, excuse me, how you're doing in the class. And if you've got questions, if you've got concerns of, let's say the grade you have right now is not the grade that you need at the end of the semester. Like if your grade right now would not be acceptable, reach out. I can, especially after exam 3, I can tell you what you're going to need to make from here on out to finish with whatever letter grade you're shooting for in the class. But just be in touch. I'm here to help. Remember that. I'm probably in my office wishing I had something to do, so I will be more than happy to help you with whatever questions you have. Send me a Blackboard message or call. Either way is fine. All right, now this week, I had a little bit of a mix-up. In one section of our syllabus, I said that exam 3 was going to be Monday through Wednesday. And the reason I stretched it out a little further was we just had exam 2 last week. And even though exam 3 is not on that much material, it's just 6, 7, and 8, and those were all really short chapters. Because it was such a quick turnaround, I wanted to give you as much time as possible. So that way, if I stretched it out over 3 days, you could spend a little bit more time preparing. Then I messed up, and somewhere else in the syllabus I said it was going to be open Tuesday through Thursday because I wanted to give you even more time. And because I put both of those in there, and that might have been confusing, what I'm going to do is leave it open Monday through Thursday. So this time you've actually got 4 days to take the exam. So here's what I would recommend. If you watched all the lecture videos last week and you feel pretty comfortable, go ahead and take it early in the week, and that'll give you a little bit of a more laid back week this week. You've only got one more lecture video to watch after you take the exam, and then you can kind of take a breather before you tackle the second half of this semester. If you need more time, if you had a busy week last week and you just didn't get a chance to watch those lecture videos, or if you're still kind of uneasy, you've got until Thursday if you want. So just make a schedule, make a time that works best for you. I know this sounds weird, but when I give students more time to take the exam, what I've found is that a lot of students don't take it. I think it's because when you've got a day or two, like it's present on your mind, it's like, oh, the exam's open, it's due tomorrow, I got to get it done. This one's basically open all week, so just be careful. Make a plan, like put something in your calendar. This is the date that I'm going to take the exam, to make sure you don't forget it. All right. So exam 3 review quiz is going to be due Thursday when the exam closes. That's just in case you're still studying up until the last minute. You can wait and take the review quiz when you feel ready. But what I would recommend is go ahead and take it like well before the exam, and you can use that review quiz as a chance to kind of gauge yourself and see how well you know it. So let's say you feel pretty ready and you want to take the exam early in the week. Go ahead and take the review quiz first, and if you bomb it, if you didn't do as well as you wanted, maybe that's a sign that you need to take a day or two to go back and review everything before you take the real thing. All right, so review quiz, exam 3 review quiz is due Thursday, February 9th. The exam 3, the actual test, will be open Monday through Thursday, so February 6th through the 9th. And you can read all that, but just like always, you're going to use Respondus. Make sure that you show your desk and table surface. Make sure the webcam is centered on you throughout the exam, just like always. And I've explained why it's open longer already. All right, when you're done with exam 3, we've only got one lecture video to watch this week. It is on chapter 9, which is the cell cycle, and we're going to talk about something called mitosis a lot in this chapter. Mitosis is when cells reproduce. So like if you've got a skin cell and that skin cell grows and it pinches off into two, now the cell just reproduced. Mitosis is how the nucleus divides. So those two are going to go together in chapter 9. So just watch that this week. If you want to, so here's just a quick preview. Next week, you're going to have chapters 10, 11, and 12. We don't have a test, but you've got 3 lecture videos to watch. So if you do get caught up, if you want to work ahead a little bit, I might recommend go ahead and watching chapter 10 this week too, because chapter 9 and 10 go together really well. And if you watch them back to back, or if you watch them one day and then like chapter 10 the next day, I think it'll click a little bit better. But just go ahead and watch 9 for sure this week to make sure you don't fall too far behind. 10 would be good if you've got time. All right, other than that, 2 more assignments. You've got discussion board number 3 on photosynthesis. So this one's a little different. I couldn't find a good, like halfway interesting video. I had found some old articles in like an online magazine that were really interesting, but they're behind a paywall now. So it's one of those where you have to watch ads, and like if you've clicked the links before, it gets you locked out. And I had a bunch of issues. So I found another one. This one's a little off topic. It talks about a lettuce nudibranch, which is a animal that can do photosynthesis. I mentioned those at the beginning of chapter 6, the photosynthesis, or chapter 7 was photosynthesis. So it's honestly like a travel article, but it spends a lot of time talking about those lettuce nudibranches. So you're just going to read that whole article, leave a post. Remember, try to tie it into something that we talked about in class. So something that you found interesting and how it relates to what we talked about in the lectures. You can like do a summary if you need to. So you're going to leave one post yourself and then respond to at least one other student's post. All right. Lastly, we have our photosynthesis lab. So this one, I like it a lot, but here's a couple tips that I would give you for this lab. It takes a little while to complete. So what you're going to do is you're going to have spinach leaves. And you are going to either cut small sections of the spinach leaf out, or what I would really recommend, here's tip number 1. If you can get one of those single hole punchers, like the ones where you slide paper in there and punch it, and it makes a hole like that in your paper. Really good idea to try to borrow one of those. I wouldn't necessarily buy one, but if you know someone who has one or a teacher that you can borrow from, that's going to make it really easy to punch those holes out of the spinach leaves, and that way you don't have to spend time with scissors cutting. The other thing is that it takes a while. What you're going to do is I won't go through all the instructions, but you're going to take these spinach leaves, you're going to put them in a vacuum, like with the syringe. You're going to make a vacuum that's going to pull this solution inside the spinach leaf. And then you're going to put them in a glass of water with light shining on them, and then different solutions shining on them, or different solutions, and you'll have light shining on all of them. And the idea is, if those spinach leaf discs that you've cut out, if they're doing photosynthesis, they're going to start to form oxygen. Oxygen was one of the byproducts of photosynthesis. And that oxygen is going to cause the disc to rise up in the water. Like it'll be at the bottom, and then you'll actually see it float up to the top because it's creating gas that's going to make it buoyant. All right. Now that takes a while. It's going to ask you to set up that solution, and then every 10 minutes you're going to go back and see how many of those discs are floating, and that can take a few hours. So just give yourself plenty of time, like always. There's a lot of waiting and then looking and then waiting 10 more minutes and then looking. So it's not like a lot of nonstop work, but this would be a good, if you've got a downtime, where you want to catch up on a movie or a TV show, go ahead and start this lab. And then when you're waiting on the disc to grow, to float and everything, you can watch your show and then pause it and look and record like that. All right. So that's it for this week. Feel free to reach out if you got any questions, and thanks.